What is up everyone? Welcome to my channel. My name is Mariah May. I also go by the name The Glamour. I'm a British pro wrestler from the UK and I make YouTube videos. So today's video is a little bit of a spooky season video, and this was actually recommended to me by one of my viewers on Twitch, so I thought I would do it. They actually recommended a few videos, but as I thought, why not give it a try, do some spooky stuff. So today's video is going to be the top horror, Halloween-y kind of films that I recommend. They're not particularly Halloween-y, but they're just horror films. Disclaimer, I don't normally find horror movies scary. Not since I was a little kid. I just don't find them scary. They don't get me. I don't find gore scary or anything like that. I just find it kind of gross. I'm just a bit like, ugh. So I don't normally find films scary, but these are some films that I either found really scary or I thought were a really good watch. This film gave me literal nightmares. I had to sleep with the light on for a long time, and then luckily my friend actually came to live with me and like we shared a room, so it kind of just went away because there was someone else there. But Insidious. So I think this gets a lot of respect from people, which I'm happy about, because this film terrified me. And the reason it terrified me is because the film was all about this, I don't want to give like too many spoilers, so I'm going to try and avoid spoilers and just give like a bit of a kind of trailer vibe to it. But this film is all about this kid who is in a coma and no one knows what's wrong with him, and then the house starts being haunted and all this creepy stuff keeps happening, but the kid's basically, he leaves his body. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say too much, but he can like see himself and he can, you know, he's in a scary place basically. It's a thing of nightmares, like everything you can think of in it is got in it. I found this one particularly scary because it is just very well made, the acting's really good, which normally in horror films it's just not great. The acting's really good, it's really well made, the soundtrack's really good to it, like it's all scored perfectly, it really builds the suspense. But when I was younger, I had the worst night terrors, and I used to have dreams where I could literally see myself asleep, but I couldn't get back in. And that's what like the kid has, and it's literally like my worst nightmare, because I'm like, this literally happened to me. Obviously it didn't happen like that, but you know what I mean? Like I really related to it, and I was like, oh my god. But the film was just so well made, there's some really scary moments in it, but as a whole, I think the reason it's so good is because it actually makes sense. I think sometimes with horror films, they're just kind of scary, something weird is happening but there's no explanation behind it, there's nothing that like satisfies you or makes sense. It's hard to believe. You can't really suspend your disbelief because it's just so like just for the sake of it. Whereas I feel like this film, and actually the films that follow this, because I think there's 4 but I only really like the first 2, they make sense and it all leads on and it all connects with it. So I would recommend watching all 4, but I just like the first 2. It's really good because it makes sense, it all builds into each other. In the second film you get more context for the first film. The first film's got a cliffhanger. So my next one was Insidious 2. I don't want to say too much because I feel like it would give it away, and if you've never seen it, it's something you should watch without spoilers. It's really, really good. It's just like, it's got really classic horror film vibes to it, but it does make sense. And I like the fact that they're all interlinked. The film wraps up really well. You get a lot of answers for different things and it's really cool. You know, and like you're just really satisfied with the film and you're like, oh wow, oh my god, like it just all makes sense. I enjoyed 2, but yeah, the first one, just like, I think I was like 13, 14 when I watched it. I went in the front room just to sit down and play on my DS, and Insidious started. And I kind of like just put my and I couldn't help but watch it. It was in the middle of the day. The curtains were down, it was in the middle of the day, and it still had me shook. It's not like I watched it at night all scared. It had me shook regardless. And I still watch it from time to time, even though it still scares me today. Like I watched it recently, I think like last year, and things weren't okay. But I just think it's one of those films that's genuinely scared me. Normally I don't get scared, so I have to recommend it because it's really good. It's not hard to watch with the acting, which is always a positive. And yeah, definitely recommend Insidious 1 and 2. If you want to watch the whole lot, you can. They do kind of, 3 and 4 are different, but they do call back to certain things. But for me, I didn't find them scary. They were a bit random. But absolutely recommend 1 and 2. The next film that I recommend is actually made by the same people, I think, and it's called The Conjuring. And actually, one of the actors is the same guy. He's in every horror film that ever existed at this point, I feel. The Conjuring is the first one, not the Enfield haunting one, that was. But the first one that's about the big family that move into this house, I thought was really good. It's not as good as Insidious, but it is very good. It's very scary. Again, it's one of those films that the acting is good, everything makes sense, everything wraps up, which I think that's always been my issue with horror films. They're just so mad for like the sake of it, and you're like, it just doesn't make any sense. So for me, it was very satisfying that it all makes sense. I feel like I should title this video, what horror films logically make sense. Really good, it's really well made, there's good characters in it, there's good undergoing storylines too, there's a good mix of people in it. I really enjoyed Conjuring, I really recommend it. If you like dogs, I'm sorry in advance, because there was a bit that just broke my heart, but it's always the dog. I'm just gonna give the spoiler because I feel like you'd rather know going into it. It's always the dog never survives. It's a really good horror film, really well made. Again, the music, because I feel like all films, like the scoring of the film is what makes it, but especially horror films because it builds the suspense, and I really enjoyed it. And then the last film I'm going to recommend, I mean, there's bits that are scary, and I don't want to give too much away, so come back to me after you've watched it, but because I want to hear what you have to say about it. But it's called Cabin in the Woods, and it was not what I expected, so it's not scary, but it is a good film to watch if you're in for, like, you know, you like scary films. You'd find it really, I'm gonna say interesting, I don't want to give too much away. It's very different from the other films I've recommended to you, and it's very clever, kind of funny. It's really worth watching. I really found it funny. My boyfriend and I put it on and we didn't expect what happened, and I thought it was really well made. It's very clever, it's very different. So I'm definitely gonna recommend that. Again, I don't want to say too much because I just don't want too many spoilers. Those are my spooky season recommendations. I'm not a massive horror film fan purely because I just don't find them that scary, but those are films I found scary or interesting, so they're the ones I'm going to recommend to you, especially Insidious. I think about it still. I don't know if I'm going to watch it because I'm kind of scared. But those are the films I recommend. If you have any recommendations for me, any films that genuinely scared you, like genuinely got you like shook at night, then please comment below. Do not comment Saw. I don't find that kind of stuff scary. Everyone always recommends it and I'm like, really? Those are my recommendations. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel and turn the notifications on for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching.